Okay, first look at the AtomRC Theorbat wing. It's 860 millimeter. First, I want to show you what it states on their website. Okay, so you get the kit, you get the plug and fly, or you get the RTH. I'm not sure what the H stands for, but it's like in between a plug and fly and a ready to fly. So on the plug and fly, you get the pre-assembled foam. The electronics and accessories are not assembled. So it's like a plug and fly kit. You get everything, but it's a kit. So you get pre-assembled foam aircraft. Okay, but you got to put it together. You get the wood plate, screws, push rod accessories. You get RGB LED light that goes on the back of it. If you want to use that, you get the motor, which is a 2306.5 1960 kV motor. You get the ESC, which is an AtomRC Exceed Brushless 4S 30 amp ESC. You get two servos. They're S09M9 gram servos. They're metal gear servos. You get, it says 4 propellers, but I only got 2. So I got 2 Gemfan, they look like Gemfan Flash, 6042 2-blade props. They're multi-rotor props, so one spins one direction, one spins the other direction. So the one that I have on mine now, since it has clockwise threads on the motor, is I have the prop that spins counterclockwise, the opposite direction that the nut tightens on the prop, but it's a nylock, a lock nut, so I don't think you're going to have any problems with that. Okay, so that's the plug and fly version. If you get the ready to H, I don't know what that is. It comes with all electronics, comes with the flight controller, and everything is installed and pre-tuned. So that is more like an actual plug and fly aircraft. And it comes with, it says it comes with GPS, it comes with the flight controller, which I assume a flight controller will also have a gyro built into it. So, and it says it's pre-tuned. So if you want to grab one and go out, put a battery in it, program it into your transmitter, throw a battery in it, take it out to fly it, that would be the one to get. It doesn't take much time to actually build the plug and fly version of it, which is what we're going to look at here. So okay, so this is the finished, completely assembled, ready to launch Theorbat mine. Now, it doesn't come with those yellow and red stripes on it. That is colored vinyl tape that I had on hand that I used to make it much easier for orientation on this wing. So I should be able to tell the top from the bottom fairly easily now. A couple hundred meters away, I should be able to see it. So, all right, so this is not in any particular order, but we're going to look at everything that it comes with and what the assembly entails. Okay, so we're looking at the bottom of it. You can see here where they have the CG marks molded into the foam, which is nice. You're not having to measure and guess where the CG is. So they have the CG marked. You have 2 equipment bays on the bottom of it with these little, I feel like little plywood covers, I think is what they are. There's also holes here so you can put your antenna through it. So I assume one would be for like a receiver and a GPS, or you could put your GPS and your VTX down there in either one of these equipment bays. I'm just going to be flying at line of sight to begin with, so I'm just going to cover those up. And here it shows with the covers on it. Let me go back here. So where the battery bay is, there are already slots in the equipment bay and the plywood, but there's only 2 of them, and my battery was quite a bit thicker than where those 2 slots were located. So there's another slot in the actual plywood itself. It's just not cut all the way through the foam. So I just cut out that little piece of foam where the slot is and brought my Velcro strap through there. Just something to be aware of. Okay, so here I've got the camera bay off of it. If you're gonna be flying it with that camera hatch on it, make sure that you tape it down, because it's not gonna stay in there. Okay, so I've got that removed right now. I've got one of my FPV cameras set in there. It fits in there perfectly. I mean, nice and snug, There's not a problem. There's also a slot down here where you could tie down like your action camera, like if you have a GoPro. I have a Hawkeye Firefly, which is what I used to record my flights with. But anyway, here's what it looks like with the FPV camera in it with the little foam cover back on it. Like I said, you do need to put some tape on there to hold that on. And then here it is with my Firefly action camera in it. So as you can see, there's plenty of room in there for a recording camera and an FPV camera. Not a problem. Of course, you're not going to be able to put that cover back on it when you've got your action camera on it, but you have that option. That's really great. You also notice up here on the equipment hatch, it's got a tab in the back and a magnet in the front, but I don't think that magnet is going to hold that hatch on, at least not at high speed. So they also put a thumb screw in there, and I suggest that you definitely use that thumb screw to hold that hatch on. Okay, so here I've got it with my my battery in it. Now this is a 4S 1600 milliamp hour 70C LiPo that weighs approximately 180 grams. The height of that battery is 38 millimeters, and that is too high. That's too tall to get the hatch closed. So this battery happens to be taller than it is wide. So I laid the battery on its side, which is 34 millimeters tall, and I can get the hatch closed no problem with it laying on its side. I would say the maximum height you're going to want on a battery to put in this is 35 millimeters. Any higher than 35 millimeters, I don't think you're going to get the hatch closed on it. So be aware of that. The hatch, if you just look at the square area here on the hatch, I basically, because it's molded in the back, kind of an arc, I just went about halfway up that arc and then took the measurement on the width here. So it's like it's approximately 110 millimeters wide by 120 millimeters deep by 35 millimeters tall. So that gives you an idea of the capacity, the size, and capacity of the equipment bay here. You also notice these thumb screws over here. This wing is an updated version of the Sky Zone Theer wing that came out years ago. Now, from what I understand, because I never had one of those, I never flew one, the biggest difference, I think, is this one was designed from the get-go for a flight controller, for GPS, for FPV, for recording camera, and it comes with removable wings. So you've got these thumb screws in here that hold these wings on, whereas what I understand the Sky Zone did not have removable wings. So I guess that's a benefit, you know, for transporting this. If you need to break it down, you know, to get it in a backpack or something, you can do that with this one. Okay, and here it is. Here's a better look at the equipment bay without my battery in it. You can see your two pillars right here with your magnets, your thumb screws that hold in on your wings. You also see this round piece of carbon right here. So you have a piece of round carbon rod that goes in the front part of the wing and through this little plywood reinforcement here. And then I'll have another image, but there's also a 6x6 square piece of carbon tube that goes through the main part of the wing that really gives it its structural stiffness for the wing. Okay, it's a naked ESC. It's the AtomRC Exceed brushless 30 amp 4S brushless ESC. It does have a built-in 5-volt 3 amp back. Now, since they assume you're going to tie everything into a flight controller, and the flight controller is going to be providing power to the servos, an external receiver, your VTX, all that kind of stuff. The little servo connector that they sent with this is just 2-wire. It just has signal and ground because they assume you're not going to be powering your receiver, your gyro, and your servos off of the included ESC. So I have a 3-wire servo connector that I'm going to be attaching to this ESC to provide power to my gyro, my receiver, my servos, since I'm not using a total flight controller on this wing. Okay, so here's some of the equipment that it comes with. Also, so there you can see the 2-wire servo wire lead that they sent. That's the one that I had to replace, or you could add a third wire. You could add a voltage wire to the one that they sent. It comes with an XT60 connector. That is for the ESC. Of course, you've got to supply the battery. It comes with the 2 control horns for the elevons. It comes with the linkage stops for the control horns. Here are your power leads for your ESC to your battery with the XT60 connector, and then also your control rods for the elevons. Okay, here I'm just showing you an image. It does come with a programmable LED light, RGB LED light that you can mount on the back of it. It has this little wood offset here. Here's a picture of the manual and the decals that come with it. I put the bat decals on mine. I put the AtomRC Thier decals on mine. Of course, there wasn't much sense in putting the black text on black foam, so I just left those off. The manual gives quite a bit of information about the flight controller. As a matter of fact, I'd say most of the manual is in regards to the flight controller. But there's the assembly on the wing is, I mean, there's no guesswork to it. You'll be able to figure it out easy enough, especially after watching this video. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not putting the LED light on mine. I don't need the wood separator for it, so I've got the carbon motor mount mounted directly onto the back of the fuselage. This area in here where the motor mount is, this is like the motor mount is actually, it feels like a nylon or plastic material that's embedded in the foam. Okay, the AtomRC S09M 9-gram metal gear. Oh, they are digital, excuse me. They are digital servos, which is great because digital servos typically have more torque than analog servos. And in my opinion, they're much better at holding their center position than analog servos are. Okay, so the reason I wanted to show you this was these don't quite fit in these pockets. So what I had to do is I had to cut out about 3 millimeters. I had to cut these pockets out 3 millimeters further, deeper, in order for these servos to go into these pockets without any obstruction. So just, measure back about 3 millimeters, from where the bottom of the servo is, and then just cut that section out, fit in there perfect, nice and snug, just like they should. Okay, so here I wanted to disconnect this wing so you could see the 6x6 square carbon tube that gives you most of the strength on the wing is with this big 6x6 millimeter square carbon tube. And then you've got the 2 smaller round carbon tubes that go into this plywood reinforcement here, along with the thumb screws that hold the wing onto the fuselage. So the assembly is really, really easy, guys. Don't let the fact that it's a plug and fly kit intimidate you. There's nothing to it. It also comes with these wing protectors. You can see that it's molded into the foam. There's a molded pockets right there where these wing leading edge wing protectors go on there. They put in 2 different types of wing tips. Now the wood ones will use screws to mount on to the plywood on the wing tips, but these foam wing tips do not have any wood or anything in there for you to attach them with screws. So I just glued mine on to the plywood at the end of on the bottom of the wing tips, at the end of the wing tips. I think that's going to work fine. And there they are, separated from the little piece of molding foam. Okay, so I wanted to show you a picture of what my equipment bay looks like with everything in it. You can see I've got the ESC all put together here. Anyway, we're back to the beginning now. So this was sent to me for review by AtomRC. I want to thank them for sending this for review. A couple of the couple of the AtomRC planes are some of my favorites. You know, the AtomRC, the Ishin AtomRC Flying Fish comes to mind. The AtomRC Penguin comes to mind. Those two are just absolutely fantastic. Fantastic flying planes. The Seal Wing G1500 was a really great flying plane. So AtomRC has put out some really, really good aircraft. That's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Tinkerz Lab.